Hello friends, and welcome to the 6th episode of the multiplayer game between the audience of Master of Orion 2 community, none others than IR and versus Cabman. As you can remember, last time IR researched biological mutations or evolutionary mutations, should I call it, which allows you to pick additional racial trait. And I was wrong. IR didn't pick an attack. He did actually pick cybernetics. And for it to take an effect immediately, as you could see, we reloaded and edited the game with a Corian, or just reloaded, so to get this evolution limitation perk going this same turn. And you can see immediately that IR has 140 food surplus. This is how powerful it is. So each turn counts. So cybernetics allows you to consume half as much food as you need, which will free a big bunch of population. As you can see right now, IR shifting populations from farming to the other duties. Spies continue to being built. Again, population shifting, population transferring to other parts of IR's empire. I will pause a video feed right now to get some analytics going. So as you can see, from the UBOTH to Oculus and Baron systems, there are 7 to 8 parsecs. I can say for sure because I can't measure it. And from Saho system to Musator and Citil's system is 6 to 8 parsecs of length to travel. So what it gives us? Mizar to Madre is 10 plus, I feel. Why it is so important? Cabman is a tolerant race, so most which nullifies or ignores pollution, like that. So he pretty much ignores all pollution tech, and a fuel cell stack neighbor the anti-pollution tech, and IR already picked atmospheric renewer, which situated in the same research field as iridium fuel cells, which allow you to move for 9 parsecs. So and thorium fuel cells won't be picked by either of players if nothing extraordinary happens, because they are located in the same research field as a neutronium armor. So IR is pretty much tied to 6 parsec per turn with his deuterium fuel cells, and Cabman can travel for 9 parsecs, which allows him to pick where he may attack IR. Additionally, we should speak about drives and why it's so important to have a 6 parsec speed per turn. And antimatter drives gives you 5 parsec per turn, and that where leaders with navigator, which adds 1 parsec per turn, gives you 6 parsec per turn. So when we look upon these two different systems which are not colonized and may be outposted, the upper one is much more beneficial because it gives 6 parsec per turn of 6 parsec of a distance, which allows you to attack immediately a couple of systems, even with deuterium fuel cells, which gives you only 6 parsecs of travel distance. But enough of my rambling. Let's get back to the game, and we see that IR refits his fleet at the Drago system. I feel he wants to either relocate it closer to front lines, or maybe get that pesky crystal out of the way for colonization purposes. It's quite a close system to Drago, so maybe it's what he wants to do. Refitting a couple of old designs to new ones in the same system at different planets. Cancelling Space Academy to hasten the process and repurpose the saved production, stored production, to this new project of refitting. Spies continue to be built in routine things to do, shuffling population, to optimize effectiveness, because again 100 plus food surplus needs to be dealt with. Quite a task, if you would ask me. So this turn should be pretty long. By the way, feel free to comment about the quality of the video, maybe some features, maybe some inconsistencies. If you liked this little snippet of analytics I provided. For now, some ships going to eco system. I don't see what ship it is. It may be either scout or colonization ship. Miner plant is going to be built in one turn. It is bought. 23 spies and growing. Warp dissipator is next research we're going to get. Terraforming at Drago for the food and population purposes, so the farmers would grow food better, or more food, and the cap for population will increase, so the planet can host more population, which always great for the pollution purposes and for the optimization purposes, to have one planet doing, like being a hub for production, farming or research. Okay, warp dissipator is research, and shield capacitor is the next tech, which doubles the shield on the ship it's installed on. By the way, as you can see, space academies are built. Those gives additional experience each turn, and those are cumulative. For example, if a couple of space academies built in the same system, all those experience would be redistributed evenly, or should I say additively, to each ship. For example, if 3 space academies built, so 3 experience per turn would be given for each ship stationary in that system. And any ship built on the planet where Space Academy resides would get a regular crew from the get-go instead of a green one. And it's a big deal because it's beam attack and beam defense bonuses, with ground combat bonus as well. all is good, and I would say even crucial, because, as you know, initiative is the name of the game. Most of the time, who goes first wins. Of course, if all other factors are the same, which most of the time is not, so it's not that clear-cut. Continue to shuffle population from housing planets to the production or research hubs or newly colonized systems to get them going faster. Spies are everywhere, 28 spies right now for the IR, waiting for their time. Checking graphics, and as we see with the tech we're still in the lead, however everything else, or should I say population buildings, is not. It's an okay dynamic because Cabman plays tolerant production race, and pretty great one as well, without any major drawbacks. Economically, you may consider food as a major drawback, but he plays cybernetic from the get-go, so they already eat half a food, so it's not the biggest deal. So the strength of cybernetic covers this negative peak of minus half food. And tolerant covers the thing with cybernetic that you produce way too much pollution. Okay, so it's colonization ship, going to colony ship, going to a new system to colonize, and we are building a scout. Most of the times scouts are for, again, scouting purposes. For now, is either to scout the bottom part of the map or the opponent. You need to check your opponent. Okay, checking their forward systems for their development, because it's obvious that frontier systems would get hit first, and if there are some chunks in their armor of your opponent's frontier systems or anything else, you should note it for yourself and check the development to maybe get some useful information. Terraforming going at over prime, again for the food and population purposes, additionally for lowering maintenance cost, additional cost from the better your planet is, the less money you pay for maintaining your buildings from certain point. So shield capacitor, 2x shields and recharges, and stealth suit, which is a spy tech, one of the most prominent ones. And as we already know, democratic races cannot skip pretty much spy tech, because inherently they start with a disadvantage in spy and defense. As you can see, when we will get to the spying screen, our agents has 35% percentage of success, while our main spies, operative spies, has 40%. So this minus 5% in spy defense, quite a big deal. You only need like a 10 to 12 to 20 advantage in spying to get a couple of attacks from your opponents, and this is pretty much game over most of the times. Of course, if everything else is equal. Using turn summary to switch between events quickly and get things done. Bind colony ship again to quicken their development of the empire, colonization process. Additional spies, why not? The more you have, the better you're off. And unfortunately, IR decides to dismiss this famous director. I'm certain that IR knows better the chances which additional famous director gives against the chances to acquire new officers, new directors, against the chances which he diminishes while being hired. Because more heroes you have, less chances you have to get more heroes, more officers, more directors. So I'm pretty certain that IR knows what he's doing. And as you can see, IR distributed his leaders to his fleet, so I feel he will go to Oki system and will engage the space crystal to get that lucrative monster system for himself. Continue to monitor the situation with freighters. Still suit will be researched next turn. 34 spies, which already is a great amount. We can build 17 for defense and 17 for offense. It is most optimal numbers. Anything higher than that will be less optimal, but still needed, of course. No other way around. But only 0.5% of spy advantage or to spy roll for each additional spy on defense or offense after 17th one. After 17th, yeah. English is not that hard. Kinda. Or maybe not. Okay, turn. A little breather for a caster here. Spaceport and building Space Academy first, and showing his intent to build Glodius in this planet when Space Academy will be built, because again, without Space Academy all ships are built without additional experience as a green crew, not a regular one. Okay, transferring population to the Oculus from the house and planets. Now it's going to again to the some frontier systems. Not exactly frontier, but close to Citula system, as we already understood that Cabman can get the Citula system. Most certainly he's going to get iridium fuel cells, if not already. However, he won't be able to reach it in one turn, so IR has a chance to react, because it's I think 7 to 8 parsec of a distance. Of course, if not for the hyperdrive or interface drive, but it's so deep in the tree and research tree, and researching hyperdrive, you're giving up HyperX capacitors. Those pretty great. Those allow to shoot twice in the first turn with a beam weapon. And beam weapon is like mid-late game weapon, which can be pretty devastating. Still, we don't see any combat tech. We continue to develop, and it seems there will be a couple of turns before non-aggression pact is lifted. If I remember correctly, it's 1.16 as standard agreement for non-aggression. Okay, some additional designing, shipper designing, because as you remember, I'm certain, additional research, going deeper in research tree, miniaturize your weapon and some systems, so you can refit your ships to be more effective, because weapons and systems are getting smaller, allowing you to fit more, obviously. And the more you have in your ship, the better design is, the better you're against your opponents. Obviously, your DPS or damage per second here, or just damage, la damage would be much better. Still not going for a crystal, waiting for refits, which is a prudent strategy. Better to overestimate your position than underestimate it, because in the multiplayer game you don't have a second chance most of the time. Of course, there are gentlemen's agreements and all that stuff which may allow you second chances, but most of the time your opponent won't give you any slack. Checking the opponent's development. Again, the prudent thing to do, to understand, can you attack those systems? Is there any weaknesses to exploit in the future? Shifting some production queues to optimize those. Up in RoboMiners, right after Holy Simulator. Okay, checking potential system to colonize and turn. Again, a little bit of a breather for the caster. This episode would be a little longer, because I provided this section with analytics, which ate up time, and stealth suit is researched. What will be the next technology to research? And this is planetary stock exchange, plus 100% of money generated by the planet it is built. Chem deposits, great, plus 10 BC per turn. Rich system, wet, so you can farm food, terraform that, etc. But of course, in the rich system, most of the time you want to concentrate or focus on production. But terraforming again is great for just upping your maximum population on a planet. By the way, in this modification, VDC modification, if I'm not mistaken, each planet has max population more than in the original, so we can host more population than in the original. And it's quite logical, because in the VDC you can get to production capabilities which is much higher than in the original in the short amount of time comparatively. So we need to have and the production is tied directly to amount of population you have, because housing is tied to production, and housing allows you to get more population. So this, therefore, it's like a necessity to have a bit bigger planets. So it balances out with subterranean, aquatic, or absence of thereof. So other races could actually exist, and not everyone being subterranean or aquatic, or tolerant in this regard. Again, we see here some deja vu, because there were some problems with the technical problems. So there was a reload, and I feel like we're watching the same turn again, but I will not re-record this because it's quite hard to understand, is it a new turn or the same one. I've cut off this reloading section, so for your viewing pleasure, to save your time, and I hope I actually saved it. $39 spies in the reserves. Maximum spies you can have is 33 and 63, I'm sorry. So it seems that what IR and Cabman, I feel as well, are aiming for. Planetary will get researched next turn. Planetary stock exchange, which will up the money reserves from money generation and notch. And yeah, we're going for the space crystal. Space crystal has a shield, and he has spatial compressors, if I remember correctly, or pulsar. It's a radial thing. It's a radial weapon. So as you can see, IR moves his frigate as close as possible and launches one missile to get space crystal activate just on one missile and not on all those missiles, destroying those simultaneously. Yep, as you can see, he reacts with he does his impulse just on one missile and allows every other missile to hit him, and the system is conquered, and 26 population reach turn is colonized. Rename to a corner for a better understanding where it is in the reports of its location, in the reports in the colony view. Because the more system you have, the more things you need to keep in your head to understand where to send population, where to build something without the need to switch to galaxy view every time. the skill I'm not apparently not having, because it's quite hard for me to catch where IR moves his population and where he builds what. Okay, building stock exchanges on every notable planet where the population would allow to have an actual profit, because every building has maintenance cost, which eats your BC per turn, like 2, 3, 4 BC per turn each building. So if population cannot give you enough money when you build this building, this money building there, because it's a percentile. So for example, if you have only 1 population or 2 population while building stock exchange, it will give double of those money, and only 4, only +2, which won't give you any profits. You will just waste your production building this building, the structure. So it's of course self-explanatory to build money buildings on planets with enough population to at least give you some surplus of money generated. Atmospheric renewer at Madrid Prime to combat the pollution. Cumulatively with nano disassemblers, almost no pollution is produced or is happening, which is great because as you know, pollution eats up into your production, and more pollution you have, the lesser production you would get from each miner or each population on production on this planet or on your empire overall, which will slow you down, obviously, slow down your production queue, your building, your ships. Continue to build stock exchanges everywhere where it's financially suitable, let's say it like this. As for now, Oculus system, Baron system are the closest systems to the opposition, the Cabman. So those I feel needs to be strengthened, as well as Tula and Madrid. I'm pretty certain that or Musator, should I say, not Madrid. I'm pretty certain that IR knows this as well, understands this much better than I am. And we will see, and going to see, the fortification of those systems. Of course, if IR won't choose some different strategies, maybe on all-out attack or counter-attacking. And we're pretty much at the end of this episode, guys. If you like what you've seen, please tune in to the next episode. Every link's in the description, and see you there. Bye bye.